very much indeed. It is a great pleasure for me to be back to Dublin. It's the first time that I come back, I have to admit, since I've left back to 2002. And, I arrived at, I think, a very different situation that prevailed when I left. And I'm particularly pleased to be back at the Institute. As Jill can attest, I was regular among the audience of the Institute, and I'm very grateful for your invitation. This year, the Republic of Cyprus celebrates its 50th anniversary. We have our 50th birthday. And in preparation for this presentation, I checked the list of the countries which took the initiative to establish diplomatic relations with Cyprus straight after independence. And I saw that Ireland was one of those countries. So Ireland was one of the countries that recognized the newly independent state of Cyprus in 1960 and established diplomatic relations. Ireland was also one of the first countries to respond to the call of the UN Secretary General in 1964 when the intercommunal troubles broke out in Cyprus, and participated very actively and substantially in the UN contingent in Cyprus. Since 1964, more than 10,000 Irish men and women served in the UN force in Cyprus. Today, there is no military presence, but the military police of the UN forces in Cyprus is mostly composed by Irish guards, so there is still present there. And of course, our accession to the European Union brought the countries even, our two countries even closer together. And for us, it was a very happy coincidence that when we acceded to the European Union on the 1st of May in 2004, it was during the Irish presidency of the Council of Ministers, and it was the then Taoiseach which welcomed Cyprus and all the other new member states to the EU family. Since our accession to the European Union in 2004, we have actively supported the process of enlargement of the European Union, considering it that this is the best way to ensure stability, political, economic, and social stability, and growth and development throughout our continent. In this context, we have been supportive of the negotiations with all countries currently negotiating their membership, whilst at the same time we look forward to the opening of accession negotiations, particularly with Western Balkan countries, which are waiting their turn in the queue. There has often been criticism that there is enlargement fatigue in the European Union. However, I believe that despite the economic problems that all the member states face to a greater or lesser extent, there is a basic understanding that the main beneficiary of enlargement is the Union itself, apart from the existing member states. And in 2006, December, the European Council renewed its concession on enlargement, as you know. In the last year, the Union has undergone internal changes in response to global challenges, and the Lisbon Treaty was adopted as a result in order to prepare Europe, among other things, to face the challenge of enlargement and work in a more effective manner as an enlarged union. One of the main challenges that we face together is the economic crisis, which has also affected all the countries engaged in the enlargement process. However, I think it is important for our collective credibility to keep to the commitments that we have made to all enlargement countries and sustain the process. The enlargement negotiations in general are not essentially negotiations, in the sense that what happens is that the European Union essentially agrees with the candidate country a timetable for the adoption of the acquis communautaire, that is the totality of European community law and policies, by the candidate country within a given agreed timetable, time frame. And of course, in cases that the candidate country can make a special case why certain aspects of the acquis cannot be applied straight away on the day of accession, then limited transitional period might be given. But an important element of the whole process is the conditionality, that is, that candidate countries have to fulfill certain obligations that they undertake freely towards the European Union within a given period of time. And this is borne out also by the statement made by the Enlargement Commissioner, Stefan Füle, on the 9th of November when he presented the last progress report for the applicants, to the effect that the credibility of the enlargement process means the enforcement of rigorous conditionality towards all the applicants. Fair and rigorous conditionality forms the basis of the Union's successful enlargement policy and provides strong encouragement for political and economic reform in the enlargement country. To illustrate this point, I will dwell a little bit on the example of Turkey. As you know, my country has a special interest. You all know why, so I won't waste any time explaining that. But apart from the issues between Turkey and Cyprus, and even if we had no Cyprus problem, even if Cyprus did not exist on the map, Turkey would have been the most formidable challenge in terms of the enlargement policy of the European Union. And I'm not saying that this is so because of cultural or religious reasons, far from it. I believe that the Union is a broad church that should be open to any country, European country, that meets the criteria. But Turkey presents a challenge because simply it's way too big. Given the rules that we have adopted by means of the Lisbon Treaty, accession of Turkey and full participation of Turkey in the decision-making institutions of the European Union will change the political balance inside the European Union as we have known this balance by and large since 1957. Turkey was recognized as a candidate for EU membership in 1999 in Helsinki during the Helsinki European Council. The deal then was that Turkey will be officially recognized as a candidate for the first time in exchange for the linkage between the prior solution of the Cyprus problem and Cyprus' accession to the European Union. Whilst up until December 1999, there was a common understanding or misconception, depending from one's point of view, that Cyprus will accede only if the political problem is solved. Helsinki changed this. There was a delinkage of prior solution of the political problem, and Turkey got official recognition as a candidate. Then the next step, important step, was in Copenhagen in 2002. There the deal was that Cyprus should join the Union, despite the fact that there was no prospect of solution of the political problem, reaffirming essentially what was agreed in Helsinki 3 years earlier. And there was a political understanding which was not born very clearly on the conclusions for political reasons, but there was a gentleman's agreement that accession negotiations with Turkey would begin sometime in 2004 or 2005. In December 2004, honoring the political commitments undertaken in Copenhagen, the European Union decided to open accession negotiations with Turkey. Cyprus was by then a member of the European Union. It had acceded a few months earlier. For us, it was a very difficult decision to make, in the sense that Cyprus, a third of our territory has been occupied by Turkish forces since 1974. So we would have the opening of accession negotiations with a country which occupied part of the territory of an existing member state. Secondly, Turkey, since 1974, does not recognize the Republic of Cyprus. So whilst that would be negotiating with us their accession, they do not recognize us. But you know that enlargement process is an intergovernmental process, is a negotiation essentially between the governments of the existing member states with the government of the applicant country. However, we decided that strategically it was in our interest to give our consent to the opening of accession negotiations, because the conditionality imposed on Turkey, as in any other applicant, on the basis of the Copenhagen criteria, that is the criteria that should be met by every applicant before joining the European Union, plus some specific conditionality imposed by the Council in December 2004, would lead to a transformation of Turkey before Turkey would be in a position to join the European Union, which will hopefully in time transform Turkey into a state, a country, not using her army to solve differences with her neighbors, but would transform it to a country that would play by the rules of the game that are valid for the rest of us in the European Union. A special condition put to Turkey for the opening of accession negotiations in December 2004 was to give effect to the Ankara Protocol. Ankara Protocol was effectively the customs union between Turkey and the European Union, and Turkey undertook the obligation, which it's natural to apply the existing customs union with the member states of the Union to the new member states that acceded in 2004, including the Republic of Cyprus, of course. However, Turkey did not keep to that promise. In July 2005, when they decided to extend the customs union to the new member state, Turkey announced that it would apply this protocol not to all the member states, new member states of the European Union, but to 9 out of the 10 new member states, and you know that which member state was excluded. The European Union and its member states, in response to that, on the 21st of September 2005, responded to Turkey with a declaration which codified Turkey's obligations vis-à-vis the European Union in respect of the Republic of Cyprus. The first obligation was that Turkey, without delay, should implement fully and in a non-discriminatory way the customs union agreement with Cyprus. Secondly, Turkey should normalize her relations with the Republic of Cyprus. I should mention at this point that Turkey vetoes systematically the Republic of Cyprus in all fora where Turkey is a member and the Republic of Cyprus is not. For example, OECD, which is an important economic European international organization. Turkey vetoes the participation of the Republic of Cyprus, the membership, as well as our participation in specific programs which we co-finance as well. We do not have also diplomatic relations. Another obligation imposed by the Declaration of September 2005 was a call on Turkey to recognize all EU member states. Of course, Turkey recognizes all other 26 member states, so it is obvious to which member state that declaration referred to. And finally, the Council called on Turkey to contribute constructively to a solution of the political problem of Cyprus on the basis of the relevant UN Security Council resolutions and the principles upon which the European Union is based. Following this declaration, with great misgivings, in a dramatic meeting of the Council of Ministers in Luxembourg on 3rd of October 2005, we gave our final consent, and the accession negotiations began that date. In June 2006, under the Austrian presidency, again, Turkey had yet to meet any of those obligations. We gave our consent for the opening and closing at the same time of the first negotiating chapter, science and technology, if my memory serves me right. Then, in December 2006, the European Council, the Council of Ministers, as previously agreed, reviewed Turkey's accession process and Turkey's compliance with the obligations that I have referred to before. The Council decided, following a report by the Commission, that Turkey had failed to fulfill those obligations and imposed specific sanctions. It decided to freeze 8 negotiating chapters out of 35 relating directly or indirectly to obligations under the customs union, decided that no negotiating chapter should close unless Turkey complies with her obligations, and also decided to remain seized of the issuance of Turkey's compliance with her obligations under the Declaration of 21 September 2005. However, to show our good faith, despite the Council conclusions, we gave our consent to open further negotiating chapters. And as a result, now Turkey has opened 13 out of 33 chapters, negotiating chapters. The Council in 2006 had decided that in 2009 it will reassess the situation. The situation was reassessed last December. The Council decided that Turkey had not met those obligations yet, but simply decided to maintain the sanctions that were imposed by the Council in December 2006. We felt that this was not enough, so we took the decision, which we announced the same day to our partners in the Council, that we will freeze unilaterally another 6 chapters that were related to Turkey's obligations, which we did. So now we are in a situation where there are 8 chapters frozen by the Council, 6 chapters frozen unilaterally by Cyprus last year, that makes it 14, and another 5 chapters frozen unilaterally by France as a result of the policy of President Sarkozy, who, as you all fully well know, does not believe that Turkey is destined to join the European Union, but to acquire a special relationship with the Union, and that those 5 chapters frozen by France should those chapters have been negotiated, it would have prejudged the outcome of the accession negotiations. So we are in a difficult situation in the sense that the negotiations do not have far to go unless Turkey complies with her obligations. essentially, we have only left 3 chapters that could possibly be negotiated. But these are difficult chapters because of the nature of the acquis. One of those chapters is competition. I remember from our own accession negotiations, this was the last chapter to close because the obligations imposed by the European Union there are varied and are very heavy to digest by a candidate country. The second chapter is social policy. That would require further constitutional amendment by Turkey in order to give a constitutional force to, among other things, equality between the sexes, which is still not a valid principle inside Turkey. And this is a reform that Prime Minister Erdogan, perhaps because of domestic difficulties, chose not to include in the constitutional reform package that was adopted through referendum last September, thus missing the opportunity perhaps to establish this principle in the Turkish legal system, and that would have given the opportunity to open this negotiating chapter. And the third chapter is also equally difficult, concerns public procurement, which I think is something very tricky. Public procurement is something that even long-standing existing member states suffer in its implementation. So we are reaching a very critical juncture in the sense that we are facing the danger of the accession course, accession negotiations of Turkey being deadlocked because objectively there will be nothing to negotiate. Turkey insists that there have even been public statements in the last few days that they will not comply with their obligations vis-à-vis Cyprus for political reasons relating to the situation of the division of the island. Also, another related issue are the difficulties that arise in the cooperation between European Union and NATO. And this is also a side effect of the policy of Turkey not to recognize the Republic of Cyprus, to pretend the European Union consists not of 27 but of 26 member states. It is quite characteristic in that respect that both President Sarkozy and Chancellor Merkel felt compelled during the latest NATO summit in Lisbon to remind President Gül of this reality that the European Union consists of 27 and not of 26. I will close by saying a few things about the internal situation in Turkey, in Cyprus. The European Union has repeatedly asked of Turkey, both in the declaration of September 2005, as well as in a series of conclusions of the Council approved by the European Council to support actively efforts to find a settlement on the basis of UN Security Council resolutions and EU principles. Even though the processes of solving the Cyprus problem and the process of accession negotiations of Turkey with the European Union are not formally linked, essentially when they develop in parallel, it is quite obvious that they affect each other. We have started the process between the leaders of the two communities to solve the political problem in Cyprus 26 months ago. And unfortunately, I have to say that all Turkey has done up until now is to make public statements which include platitudes expressing general support to the negotiations. When they go into specifics, the situation is very much worse, in the sense that Turkish high officials, such as President Gül, Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister Mr. Çiçek, who's in charge of Cyprus, often questioned the agreed basis for a solution and referred to a solution which would recognize the realities on the ground in the island. That is, that we already have two peoples and two states, meaning permanent division of the island, which, of course, it's unacceptable to us, and I think it will be a true tragedy for the people of Cyprus, both Turkish and Greek Cypriots, should we arrive at the solution of dividing the island. We believe that Turkey's role is crucial because Turkey controls the situation in the northern occupied part of Cyprus militarily. There are 43,000 Turkish troops there since 1974. The UN Secretary General has characterized the occupied part of Cyprus as one of the most heavily militarized areas in the world. Economically, the regime there survives only because they receive on average subsidies of up to $750 million per year from Turkey, as well as politically. Unfortunately, following the invasion and the division, Turkey has imported settlers in the occupied part of Cyprus. 2/3 of the population in the north are settlers transported from Turkey, who are organized in their own political parties, which have direct links with various Turkish political parties. So Turkey has the levers and the influence if they want to exercise it. Of course, the argument made by Turkish officials in their negotiations with the European Union and when they do the rounds of European capitals, I understand that Mr. Baiz was here in Dublin last week, among other countries, is how important Turkey is. They make the argument that Turkey is strategically important for Europe, and essentially make the argument that since we are so important, you should make allowances for us, stray from conditionality, and let us in. I think that should that happen, it will be disastrous for the European Union. If we let a big country accede on waiving the strict conditionality that was applied to all other candidates, this will be the beginning of unraveling the European Union as we know it. Even I believe that if we didn't have the Cyprus problem, strict conditionality and insistence that the candidates meet the criteria and their obligations is what has made the European Union what it is today. That is a union which shares common values, common understanding about the world around us, and gives it the degree of cohesiveness that it has. The degree of integration that we have reached in the European Union might not be the one that we might desire to see, but I think if we see where we were 30 or 40 years ago and where we are now, I think we have made great strides. It's very difficult nowadays, and I'm unashamedly pro-European. I believe in the European Union. It's very difficult nowadays to come openly and say, speak in support of the European Union given the economic climate. Especially in countries that face more serious problems, be it Greece, our cousins and neighbors, Ireland today, Portugal, where I was last week. But I think the skeptics should think where we would have been without the European Union if we had the national currencies and not the euro. If we didn't have our partners to help us during this difficult hour of need, even with their demands. But I'm old enough to remember what it means not to have the European Union. I come from a member state which acceded only 6 years ago, and I know what it means to be in the European Union. And the balance of benefit for each and every of the 27 member states, I think, is far greater. And this is what we have to preserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador.